What's going on, everybody? We got a Flex Friday on Prizepicks, and I have a 6-pick flex for you in this one. I'm going to be breaking it down, giving you guys 6 picks that I like over here on Prizepicks in the NBA tonight. Hopefully, you enjoy the content. If you do, would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. It is free. It takes 2 seconds to do. It does really help me out, and I'll be helping you guys out with these videos for free all NBA season long. So we'll go game by game. Like I said, got 6 picks. The very first game we're going to discuss right away off the bat is going to be this Houston Rockets Toronto Raptors game. This game comes in with a 234 over under. It is a 2-point spread in favor of the Toronto Raptors. So the game is expected to stay close. Some decent scoring as far as the total is concerned. But the first play we're going to be talking about is going to be an under. And it is going to be Gary Trent Jr. And we're going to be talking about his 3-point prop. The Houston Rockets are the second best team in the entire NBA at defending the 3-ball, trailing only the New Orleans Pelicans. They're only allowing their opponents to shoot 34.9% from behind the arc, 588 for 1,684. So they've been doing a very effective job of slowing down 3-point shooters. And when we look at how the matchups are going to fare here tonight, you got Gary Trent, RJ Barrett as wing players for the Raptors, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks for the Rockets. So I wouldn't be surprised in the least to see Gary Trent Jr. get some Dillon Brooks treatment on the arc. Brooks, pretty good on-ball defender. That's obviously all factored into these season-long stats as well. But regardless, we're getting some good matchup data that's indicating he's going to have a tough time, and we're also getting some really good market data that's indicating that this is going to be a good play for us tonight, because when we look at all of the sportsbooks data across the industry, every single sportsbook, if you're interested in this tool that I have up, it is OddsJam. They hook you up with the promo code. You can get 35% off with the promo code KJKDFS. What this is doing, guys, is it's pulling in all of the market data. We have average odds of minus 129.4 on the under, and we're getting a minus 119 implied odds if we were to place this in a 5 and 6 pick flex on Prizepicks. So every single one of these sports books, there's millions of dollars invested into these, right? And they're all saying that Gary Trent Jr.'s under 2.5 3-pointers is a great play tonight. We talked about the matchup data, and we're also looking at millions of dollars of sports books indicating that this is a good play as well. And then lastly, we're getting those minus 119 implied odds on Prizepicks, so we're getting the best possible odds that we could get out of any of these sports books if we were to place them. I've got over 170 sports books pulled in. Once again, all of them factored in. It's minus 129.4 average odds on the under. And then, of course, you have some other books where it's favored even more heavily on his under, right? A good example would be DraftKings Sportsbook. Minus 130 they've got on the under here. So they're saying it's really good chance that Gary Trent Jr. makes 2 threes or less. And we're getting minus 119, so we're getting a better deal on Prizepicks. Then we head on over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, another tool that you can get 25% off with the promo code KJKDFS. Same thing, sports betting data, right? We want as many data points as we could possibly get that are going to indicate that this is a good play. Very quickly, you can see Gary Trent Jr.'s under 2.5 3-pointers is the best play on the board for him. Minus 132 on the under on FanDuel, minus 130 on the under on DraftKings, minus 130 on the under on BetMGM, etc. So there's a lot of data points pointing to Gary Trent's under 2.5 3-pointers being a good prop tonight, and that would be the first prop that I would like to promote to you guys on the channel today. As far as his last 5, see, it's been up and down. He's hit, hasn't hit, hit, hasn't hit, hit. So we're hoping he goes back under here tonight. And all signs pointing to it being a good play. All right, guys, so that will be pick number 1. Houston doing a great job of defending the 3-point arc. Vegas agreeing with us that the under is the play. These are all fantastic things. And for the rest of the slip, all the rest of the 5 picks, we're going to be going to the same game, which is kind of wild. But we'll break down exactly why I like these plays. So we'll talk about this Denver Nuggets Sacramento Kings game. 232 over under, very solid total with a 2.5-point spread. So once again, we got a 117.25 implied total for the Kings, a 114.75 implied total for the Nuggets. Solid total, both teams expected to produce, and we have very predictable usage on both sides. So the first side we'll start with is on the Denver Nuggets. Really like how this game breaks down from like a little bit of a game stack aspect, because when we look at the Denver Nuggets, Where is all the usage going? It's going through, when they have a healthy team here, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. You can see Jamal Murray with a 29% usage rate, Nikola Jokic with a 27% usage rate. Every single one of the other players in the starting lineup, we're looking at under a 20% usage rate. On average, that's the average, right? So they're all below average. All the usage is flowing through Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic on this offense. If you're an NBA fan, you probably kind of know that, but this is the data right in front of your face. And both guys, very good fantasy point producers. Both guys in a spot, I think that they can hit their ceiling tonight. In the fantasy scoring department, Jamal Murray trails only De'Aaron Fox and Trae Young on the season as far as fantasy point per minute production on the slate. He's putting up 1.21 fantasy points per minute, and he's going to put up right around 39.4 fantasy points per game with that 27% usage rate, but his ceiling is a lot higher. This is the kind of game where we think he can hit it, and Nikola Jokic, no surprise, back at it again this year. One of the best fantasy point producers in the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format. He is the best fantasy point producer by far at the center position on the slate. By far in the NBA now that Joel Embiid went down with injury. 1.73 fantasy points per minute. We're looking at, pretty much like 2 fantasy points per minute, it seems, with this guy. It's really ridiculous. 29% usage rate, 33.8 minutes per game. These are all fantastic. How many minutes are these guys going to play? You can see 36, 34. They're going to play in the upper 30s in competitive games. And if they play in the upper 30s in this kind of a game environment, I do think that they can both have some ceiling games here tonight. In the fantasy scoring department, for those of you that don't know how the fantasy scoring format works on Prizepicks, guys, you get 1 point for every point, 1.2 for every rebound, 1.5 for every assist, 3 points for the blocks and steals, and -1 for the turnovers, right? So that's obviously factored into the permanent rates that I'm discussing when I go over the breakdown, but we want guys that can contribute in every single one of these categories as much as possible. That's also all factored in to my projections, the pace of the game, all this fun stuff, right? But if you don't know how that works, I just want to make sure it's very clear. That's how we're getting fantasy points on Prizepicks. And Nikola Jokic can do all those things at a ridiculously good rate. 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 blocks, 24 points last time out. Time prior, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 29 points. Time prior, 22 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 27 points. So, very good. And then Jamal Murray, also very good. Should be able to really excel in this game environment. 29 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. For a guard, 7 rebounds, that's phenomenal. Then you add in the 2 steals. Time prior, 21 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 10 dimes, 5 rebounds. Right, so that's all reflected in the usage rates and the stuff we're talking about when I'm pulling this up on the screen, but the game logs will give you a nice, real visual as to how they're getting the job done. So I really think that this is a phenomenal spot for both these guys to have some ceiling games. Obviously, Prizepicks is very good at setting these fantasy score props. They're going to set the lines very effectively, so we're not going to have too much of an edge. 41.5 for Jamal Murray, though. I do have him getting in the mid-40s to upper 40s in this game, as he's done in 4 of the last 5. He's averaging 46. They continue to price him in the low 40s. I go in the mid to upper 40s. So let's take advantage on him. And then Nikola Jokic, a guy that hasn't quite hit his ceiling the last few times out. He's kind of had a little bit of... It's funny because Jokic's game log, his average game logs are still disgusting, but he's a guy that's at 58.5 fantasy score, so he's really got to have a little bit of a higher performance to be able to surpass his fantasy score. But once again, this game environment, I think he does. And you look at the average over the last 5, he's 63.7. So he's had a couple of quote-unquote down games the last 2 times out. He still put up over 50 fantasy points. But his line set at 58.5 when you hit him clear that tonight. I think he can get to 60 plus tonight. So like both of those guys. And then our next 3 will be on the other side of this ball. So we talked about the predictable usage for the Nuggets and the 2 guys. And the thing I like about these 2 that I will say, it's point guard and center, right? So the pick and rolls, the assists. Sometimes you take 2 guys on the team, they're negatively correlated. Both of these combos we're talking about, I think, are positively correlated. They're going to be working off each other in the pick and roll. And the next combo is going to be the same thing. It's going to be the point guard center combo on the other side with very predictable usage in De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, right? So we'll talk about their fantasy scores, and then we're going to throw in Harrison Barnes in the middle because there is one prop I like on him. So once again, look at the usage on this team, right? It's very clearly De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis' team. A little bit less of a usage on Sabonis than we talked about with like the Jokic and Murray, but 21% usage rate. 28% usage rate for Fox. He's by far the top usage player. But the fantasy point production, we talked about how De'Aaron Fox has an even better rate than Jamal Murray, and he's actually priced lower than Jamal Murray, 1.23 fantasy points per minute. He's putting up 44.6 fantasy points per game on the season, so he's in the 40s on a per average basis. And then Domantas Sabonis at the center position trails only Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic, guys that are really consistently starting, with 1.38 fantasy points per minute. Look at the minutes for these guys, right? We need them to be out there on the court for as many minutes as possible if we're taking overs. And these guys lead the team by far in minutes. 41 minutes for Sabonis last time, 35 for Fox. You can see there's a little bit of a fluctuation in the rotation players at times, like a Malik Monk off the bench. He might get hot and take away some minutes from a Keegan Murray or Kevin Huerter. These two guys, we know they're getting solid minutes, right? Sabonis, Fox, upper 30s, mid 30s, into the 40s. We're not concerned about them getting benched. Obviously, very important when we're taking overs, right? And all of this stuff is factored into my projections. All of this stuff I'm discussing. We talked about the usage rate. And once again, I'm not concerned about them cutting into each other's usage too much because we're talking about a point guard, center, combination, pick and roll. I think they can work off each other. Both guys can hit their overs, right? So we're going to run it back with them. And the guy in the middle is going to be Harrison Barnes, and I like his rebounding prop. You look at the rebounding chances per game for this team. We see Harrison Barnes is getting 6.1 rebounding chances per game, and his rebounding conversion rate on those rebounds is 51.2%. So simple math, guys. He's getting 6 chances per game. He's grabbing 50% of them. What's that going to lead to on average? 3 rebounds, and we have his line available on Prizepicks at 2.5. So I do like his over. And once again, we are looking at market data that is agreeing with me. So we talked about De'Aaron Fox. I think he's able to get back up over into the 40s. Once again, he's averaging in the mid 40s on the season. He's had a couple of down games last couple of times out, like we talked about with Jokic. But this game environment, if it flies, we're getting some positive correlation, right? Because all 4 of these guys will be in the same game. So if this game goes out there and flies like we're hoping, obviously, with this six-man ticket, 232 over. Let's hope this game ends with like 250. Let's just hope it goes crazy. We're going to get all the exposure to the top usage players in Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, De'Aaron Fox, and Domantas Sabonis, hoping they have ceiling games. And we're going to be cashing in is the hope. You follow me, people? So it's 1 6-man flex. We're getting some positive correlation if the game environment's going to fly and go over. So I like his fantasy score. I'm on a lot of his other props that have been bumped. And then Harrison Barnes is going to be the rebounding prop, like I said. Okay, he's at 2.5 on Prizepicks. I pulled up those rebounding chances for you guys. Simple math, and then the Vegas data is going to agree with this as well. But 6 rebounding chances per game, grabbing 50% of them, he's going to grab 3 rebounds, right? His line's set at 2.5. Then we look at the market. Once again, we can go ahead and pull up the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. Let's pull up rebounds and see what it's telling us for Harrison Barnes. And I already know what it's going to tell us. It's going to tell us the best possible place that we could place this, and best implied odds that we can get is going to be on Prizepicks, as you can see. Minus 119 implied odds in a 5 or 6 pick flex on average across the entire market. We're looking at minus 137.3 average odds on the over, minus 142 on the over on FanDuel, minus 157 on the over on Ballybet, minus 130 over on the BetMGM, minus 157 on the over on BetRivers. All of these books are favoring Harrison Barnes over 2.5 3-pointers, right? Pulling in all that data on OddsJam. Then we head on over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. They're going to go ahead and agree with us as well. The best possible prop on the board for Harrison Barnes. Let's see if this will just take it and bring him up. Nope, guys, sorry. Spelling errors on my end. Here he is. So it's telling us the best possible prop for him is the under fantasy score. I personally don't have interest in that myself. I like the rebounds far more. And that's the second best prop on the board. They're giving it a 53.47% chance to hit. Minus 142 on the over on FanDuel, minus 135 on the over on DraftKings, minus 130 on the over at BetMGM. All this stuff we talked about, minus 140 on the over on Fliff. So many data points I'm referring to that are telling us that the over is the play, right? I talked about the actual rebounding chances that he's getting. Once again, there's millions of dollars going into these sportsbook lines, so we have a lot of things telling us. Let's go ahead and lock in the Harrison Barnes over 2.5. Has cleared this in 3 of the last 5. And Let's hope he can go out there and clear it again here tonight for the 5th pick. And the 6th pick is going to be the Domantas Sabonis fantasy score. Talked about that, right? I got this guy going out there and get it in the 50s. Think it's too low. He's done this for the last 5. So, guy's been crushing. And let's hope he crushes for us again here tonight. So, these are all props that I like that I haven't locked in yet in this specific ticket. So, I will lock them in right now alongside with you guys. I'm never going to promote any plays on the channel that I'm not playing myself. We like the under on Gary Trent's 3-pointers. We like the over on Murray, over on Jokic, over on Fox, over on Barnes, and the over on Domantas Sabonis. And let's go ahead and try to lock in and cash in on this Flex Friday. I can only put up to $40 now on my 6-pick flexes, but that's what they're going to let me place. So I will place right now. Successfully submitted entry, and I am locked in. All right, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. It is free. It takes 2 seconds to do. Does greatly help me out. Hopefully no bumps occur. I'm on the East Coast. As you can see, I just placed 3:22 p.m. So I'm going to edit, upload this, and hopefully you can all tail. Hopefully there's no bumps. If there are bumps on the fantasy score, hopefully it goes in our favor. But really solid 6-pick flex. And let's cash in, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Wishing you all the best of luck on your Prizepicks NBA player props tonight. And we will see you in the next one.